So the floodgates have been well and truly opened when it comes to Modern Warfare 3's skill-based matchmaking, and with that has come some pretty wild accusations. Whether it's on Reddit, Twitter, even my YouTube comments, it seems like everyone is talking about skill-based matchmaking, and with those normal complaints that we hear every year, I'm also seeing a lot of pretty concerning theories and things that are happening to people in-game that I really think need to be discussed. Now, the reason I want to bring this up today is the gameplay that you're watching in the background actually did very well. I was playing with my younger brother and his friend. My younger brother is about a similar skill level to me. His friend is a lot more casual. Now, it really struck me as odd because I was doing extremely well in this game, but every single time I pushed into the enemy spawn, I was getting obscene amounts of packet loss. Now look, I'm not a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist kind of guy, but it did lead me down a bit of a rabbit hole that made me stop and think, what if we really are being nerfed in real time? What if the skill-based matchmaking system is not skill-based matchmaking whatsoever? It's actually something a lot darker, and that's what I want to discuss today. Now look, Call of Duty is no stranger to these sorts of packet bursts, and to be honest, for the last week, I've been absolutely plagued by them. I was going to make a video on that alone because it is such a big issue that sometimes the games I'm playing are borderline unplayable. And then this game really made me start to think it was such a strong correlation between when I went into the enemy spawn, and the strange thing is, it was happening at both the A side and the B side, so I know it wasn't just one area on the map. Now look, I'm not just going to sit here and outright tell you that because I was going 30 and 4 or whatever it was, that I was getting these packet bursts because of that, but you have to admit it is a strange coincidence. Not only that, and this is purely anecdotal, but it feels like some games I can absolutely hit every single shot. It feels like I can't miss, and when I'm lining up enemy heads, I'm killing them and they're dying in like 3 or 4 bullets, and the game feels so good. And then other times, it feels like I can't hit anything, and moreover, not only am I not hitting my shots, but it feels like the aim assist is actively working against me. And this has been spoken about for a few years as well, and a lot of people are calling it aim resist instead of aim assist. Now look, I do have a theory for why these things are happening, and there's a few more I want to discuss, and I don't just want to pin the blame on skill-based matchmaking straight away, although it does seem like with skill-based matchmaking being the community's boogeyman at the moment, it does seem extremely convenient that this is happening in games after you have popped off or whilst you are popping off. And then another thing that I'm seeing a lot of is people claiming that there is skill-based hit detection, whereby there could be enemies on the enemy team that you know are a lower skilled player. You know that you should be able to kill them. You are lining up your shots, and it seems like your bullets are going all the way through them. Like, you're not getting any hit markers, you're definitely not getting the kills, and there is no other explanation other than it seems like your bullets just simply aren't making contact with them. I would love to sit here and outright tell you 100% that this is skill-based matchmaking and that we, the player base, are being actively targeted and taken down a peg, and our skills, our personal skills, are being nerfed. But I do think that there is a simpler explanation at play here. I still do think it's to do with skill-based matchmaking, but I don't think it's to do with it in the way that you think it is. The thing with skill-based matchmaking is the game is hell-bent on making sure that we are paired with the perfect match. That meaning, if you're a really good player, they really don't want you playing against lower skilled enemies. And this has been documented to death. The reason for this being is if you run around and you kill the lower skilled enemies, the lower skilled enemies then quit the game for good, and the lower skilled player base, the casual player base, completely outnumber us like 10 to 1. So it stands to reason that this lower skilled player base are the ones that need to be protected, because they're the ones that are going to be buying the skins the most. They own a monopoly on the player base, and as such, it is them that is more important to the publishers than us, because they are the ones spending so much more money. Now, a byproduct of this is because there are less players in the higher skill brackets, and because we can only be placed against other players in that bracket, one of two things is going to happen. First of which, and I'm sure a lot of you will have experienced this, you'll be put in a match where the enemy team isn't exactly like optic, but they're not drooling idiots. They're somewhere in the middle. You would say that like maybe they're average players, but they're a little bit above average. They're doing quite well and they can seem to hold their own. In this instance, instead of you having a similar set of teammates, which is what you would think would happen with skill-based matchmaking, instead, you're actually given really bad teammates that seem like they don't even have thumbs. And this means that your team has absolutely no control over the map. No one is taking objectives. No one is holding power positions. And as such, even though these players on the other team aren't necessarily the best in the world, they're still able to absolutely roll over you because they have free reign of the map, because your teammates are doing literally nothing. Now look, this obviously doesn't account for things like the aim resist, the hit detection, and the packet burst, but there is one more thing that skill-based matchmaking is doing that I really firmly believe is the cause for literally 90% of the issues that this game currently has, and that is because 90% of the matches you play, you won't be expected to carry a team of shitty teammates. Instead, you're going to be put with a group group of 11 other individuals, all of the similar skill level to you. And the thing is, the more skilled at Call of Duty you are, the less people, the smaller the pool of people will be that you can draw from to find a direct match. And a direct result of this is going to be much worse connections. For example, if you're normally like a 1KD player, well, you're in luck, buddy, because 60 to 70% of the bloody player base is a 1KD player. This means that the chances are there's people living in the next town to you that are of a similar skill level to you that you can be paired with. On the flip side, if you're like a 2.5, 3KD player, well, players like you are far and few between. And as a result, like Nero Cinema showed in a video the other day, he was playing with people all the way in America, and they came up with a whole squad of people from Scotland. And this meant they had like 130 ping. And this can account for so many of these issues. For example, the aim resist or the hit detection can both be explained by like desync. For those of you who don't know, desync is whereby you're seeing one thing on your screen, but because there is a certain amount of lag, the thing you're seeing actually happened before the time that you were seeing it. I know that sounds really complicated, but bear with me here. So for example, if I'm in England and I'm playing a match and you're all the way in Canada and you're playing a match, I might shoot a bullet at you. And because there's a bit of desynchronization between what I'm seeing on my screen and what you're seeing on your screen, you might die after you've even run round a corner, because on my screen, you're still very much in plain sight. And this is going to happen more and more often the higher skill level you are, because the higher skill level you are, the worse the connection to the match is going to be. And I firmly believe that this is going to account for a lot of the instances of aim resist and hit detection problems that people are having within Modern Warfare 3. As for the packet burst, that's something that I still can't understand. And I'd love for someone who knows more about these things than me to explain it to me like I'm 5 down in the comments, because as it stands, it's so weird, but it really did seem like the further I pushed into the enemy spawn, the more packet bursts I was getting and the more unplayable the game began to get. Look, skill-based matchmaking is obviously a serious issue in Modern Warfare 3, and it is turning so many players off. There are some things that I think Sledgehammer need to do, and I highlighted one of those in a video I made yesterday, so make sure you check that out. I'm Average Joel. Peace.